Hello, welcome to a Trip to the Movies podcast. I am your host, Tripp Muncie, and I'm welcomed by my co-host,
Nathan Spencer. How's it going?
Alright, so like I do in every episode, I like to start off the episode by cracking open a delicious can of Mountain Dew. Alright, so Nathan, what are we doing today?
Today we're going to give out our own personal Oscar awards. A lot of the choices that were made for nominations we don't necessarily agree with.
Nope.
And instead of waiting until after the actual Oscars happens, when all we're going to want to do is complain about what they do actually choose to win, let's talk about everything that we love and all the nominations that we would have made. So
exactly.
The categories that we're going to be going over, because we're not proficient in every single technical category, and also we don't have the time.
I'm not going to do 24.
We're doing all the actor categories.
Yes.
Doing cinematography, original screenplay, adapted screenplay, director, and best picture. And
yes.
So just basically the heavy hitters. And
exactly.
We'll each have our own list of 5 nominees, and for picture, I went ahead and put 10 because that's the limit that you can do. But I'm not required to. I'm simply doing it because I think if you can, you should nominate as many people as many films as possible.
I'll just read off my top 10, I guess. But I only did 5 of best picture.
I will be honest. My if anyone follows me on Instagram at All Things Reviewed, my 10 films I selected for best picture doesn't exactly reflect my 10 favorite films of the year.
Understandable.
So some of them do, obviously, but not all of them. Without further ado.
All right. So what do you want to start off with?
I figured we start off with the supporting actress and supporting actor. So
that's what
you want to talk about your 5 supporting actresses first, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to list our 5 nominees and talk at length about the winner. Not length, but a decent amount about the winner, because if we talked at length about each nominee for each category, it would be it'd be like a 3-hour podcast. So
yes.
Anyways,
so
go ahead.
All right. So for the best supporting actress, I have Florence Pugh for Little Women. Mm-hmm. I have Laura Dern for Marriage Story. I have Rebecca Ferguson for Dr. Sleep. I have Julia Fox for Uncut Gems. And I have Soden Park for Parasite.
All right, I guess I'll give my nominees.
All right, come on.
Some of them are similar. Florence Pugh, Little Women.
Yep.
Laura Dern, Marriage Story. Rebecca Ferguson, Dr. Sleep. We agree on Rebecca Ferguson. She was phenomenal.
Right, sweet.
The 2 that I defer would be Jennifer Lopez for Hustlers, and then Zhao Shuzhen for The Farewell, which is Nanai.
Ooh, so. You see, I thought of putting her down, but
it's a really good year for supporting actress roles. There's plenty of good ones.
Definitely.
I have no problems with your list at all.
No, I mean the reason why I put Julia Fox on there was because this was her first acting role.
It's her first film.
Yeah, and to actually see her with all the range and getting to having to keep up with the script. With the craziness of Sandler.
She kept up with Sandler, yeah.
With the craziness of Sandler's performance and just the directing and overall, I mean, she was phenomenal.
Yeah. So.
And Soden Park, she was the sister.
Yeah.
In Parasite, and the way, I've never seen her in any other movie, and the way that she,
the scene where she's like, Jessica, only child,
yes!
only know Chicago, like it's so great.
Yeah.
I love that scene so much.
And I love, I believed her when she was trying to manipulate the family. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I loved her performance.
Yeah. So who would you have winning?
Who would I have winning? Out of literally just a performance role, I'm still going to have to go with Laura Dern. I think that she knocked it out.
Yeah.
I actually felt emotion. Second one that I would do is Soden Park, honestly.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you there.
What about you?
Laura Dern would probably be my runner-up. I have no problems with her winning the Oscar. It doesn't necessarily make for a compelling show, but to say she's undeserving would be wrong.
Yep.
My pick to win, though, would be Jennifer Lopez in Hustlers. She dominates that film. She carries it. She's like Pesci in Goodfellas. That's the best.
The
best way I can describe it. Not the main character, but like just she's a pure force on the film, and she just has everybody like under her control. And when things start to let loose and she starts to lose her grip, like it feels palpable because of how strong a character she is and how strong a performance it is. So
I would say
that's why I would give to Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, I also loved Florence Pugh.
She was great. All these people were great.
All right, so
move on to supporting actor.
Supporting actor now.
I guess. Do you want me to go first?
Yep, you can go first.
All right, so for my nominees, I would have Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's a given.
Yep.
Joe Pesci, The Irishman. Jonathan Majors from The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Ooh, okay.
Timothée Chalamet from Little Women. And then Sterling K. Brown from Waves. What's your list?
Sterling K. Brown from Waves. Perfect. Well, I have Tom Hanks in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I have Joe Pesci from The Irishman. Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Sterling K. Brown from Waves. And Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse.
Yeah, it was hard for me
I'm surprised you did not put him on there.
It's a stacked year for supporting actor roles, but I just think all these guys outshined him in that film.
Wow. Okay, well, this is where we'll talk, because I think that Willem Dafoe gave the second best performance out of any actor this year.
I mean, to say that he was bad is wrong, and to say he's not deserving is wrong. On my film page, he was in my top 10 favorite supporting performances. I like these 5 roles more. Now, it was between him or Brad Pitt to be the first cut or the last cut, and he ended up being the last cut. I think he's phenomenal in that film. The Lighthouse is a great film.
Yep.
But it doesn't hold up for me as well on rewatch.
Of course.
It's still great, and that's not really necessarily saying it's flawed, but the performance isn't. I don't know. It didn't blow me away as much as it did the first time, which is fair.
Understandable.
But again, to say that it's not deserving would be wrong. I guess my pick to win would be Sterling K. Brown from Waves.
That Sterling K. Brown was my runner-up. Watching a man have all of the bad experiences that Sterling K. Brown had with his family in Waves, all of the traumatic events that happened, and for Sterling K. Brown to actually pull off that emotion. Well, and left us in tears.
I mean, me and Tripp saw this film together. We didn't see a ton of films together this year or last year, I guess, but Waves just. I mean, for about an hour straight, both of us were just crying in the film.
We were in tears.
And the most difficult scene was he won the award with this scene for me in my mind, is when he's talking to his daughter.
Yep,
and they're fishing and it's calm or whatever, and then he, for the first time in the film that we see, isn't the audience member, opens up all the trauma and hurt and guilt and regret that he's feeling, and how he feels like a failure, and how it's basically him shedding one of the trademarks of toxic masculinity of, like, you have to always put on a strong face if you're a man, like you can't show emotion. And so it's like almost felt like the first time in his life he was being 100% open and real with his daughter, who is at that point like 19 or 18. So, like, you know, she's lived with him a long time. I guess she wouldn't be 18, but she's in high school. So, like, for the first time she's seeing her dad open up, and it was like,
it was just breathtaking.
It hit me like a wave, not to be punny, but it really did. He just owned that film.
I would also like to mention her as one of the best supporting actors. Actually, she was in my runner-up.
She almost made it for
top 5. Well, obviously, my number 1 pick is going to be Willem Dafoe. I mean, just getting to have an actor who has been in
lobster.
Getting to have an actor who has been in so many different type of movies. Willem Dafoe's range is out of this world. Yeah. And I'm just surprised that, last year he got nominated for Best Actor role and at Eternity's Gate, but he didn't get supporting role. When honestly, in my own opinion, this is his best acting since Spider-Man. And I always say that his acting in Spider-Man is great because it's one of my favorite superhero movies. But honestly, the way that him and Robert Pattinson especially, but the way that Willem Dafoe was, the way that he talked with the script, and
well, no, I can't imagine anyone else in that.
No one else could.
It was hard for me to leave him off the list. Don't get me wrong, just because he's not on my top 5 here does not mean that I did not love him.
And Tom Hanks,
great too. He was great as well.
I cried. I could not. I mean, as soon as he popped up on the screen at the very first second of the movie, I'm like,
he embodied Mr. Rogers. Like, I have no problem with him being nominated for supporting actor.
Here comes the tears.
And Brad Pitt, who's gonna win at the awards,
gonna 100%.
He's won in every single award show.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with it. He gave an amazing performance.
Yep.
My opinion, second best to Ad Astra, but that's neither here nor there.
Yep.
I'm not upset at all with him winning. It's just a little boring, which is why we're doing this. So, next category, I have cinematography.
Cinematography, all right. I'll go.
All right.
I have The Lighthouse. I have Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I have Parasite. I have 1917. And I have Waves.
Okay. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is still not out here. I was out of town when Indie Memphis did its only showing here.
I hope
so. It'll be out
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day here in Memphis. So still haven't seen it. Undoubtedly it would be on my list, but regardless, for me I have Roger Deakins 1917, Hong Kyung-pyo for Parasite. Hopefully I said that right. Adam Newport Berra for The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Yep.
Hoyt van Hoytema for Ad Astra. Ooh. And Yaren Blaschke for The Lighthouse.
Nice.
Who would you have winning?
Who would I have winning? Man, I need to remember her name. But definitely Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yeah.
When I'm telling you that was the best.
Shot in 8K. I mean, just from the trailers, it looks... It looks gorgeous.
Just because yes, every shot looks gorgeous, and it's like every single frame or every single second of that movie looks like that it could be painted on the wall. Yeah, it looks like you can hang it up in the loop,
which is fitting for a film.
Love it.
About like it had, I haven't seen it, but it's called Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It's about someone who's supposed to paint someone.
Yes,
it makes sense for the aesthetic to.
Her name is Claire Mathon. Or Mathen.
Claire Mathen, probably. Yeah.
And honestly, I have to give kudos to her because I wasn't expecting anything from Portrait of a Lady on Fire, but...
You got a lot.
I got a lot. Like I said, everything is just absolutely perfect in that movie, and it's the best looking movie I have seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Next runner-up would be The Lighthouse.
Yeah. For me, Hoyt van Hoytema for Ad Astra.
Yeah. I got you.
The cinematography in that film is immaculate. The moon chase scene is the best action scene of 2019.
Yeah. By
a lot, in my opinion. And then what sold it for me was when they go to Neptune and everything is just like caked in that, like the deepest blue I think I've ever seen in a film.
No, it was a very well shot movie.
And it's just, I don't know. This film has been really divisive. Honestly, I'm not totally sure why, but it just totally grabbed me. And without that cinematography, the majesty of space, the isolation, but also the warmth of the astronauts, like it just wouldn't have worked without that cinematography. So
no, you're absolutely right. Right. So what are we going to move on to the next category for?
All right. Next category, I have original screenplay.
Original screenplay.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you got?
The original screenplay. I have Noah Baumbach for Marriage Story.
Okay.
I have Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Of course.
I have Ronald Bronston, Josh and Benny Safdie for Uncut Gems. Susanna Vogel, Katie Silberman, Sarah Haskins, and Emily Halpern for Booksmart. And I have Trey Edward Schultz for Waves.
There you go. All right, so I got for original screenplay Josh and Benny Safdie and Ronald Bronstein. Uncut Gems. Noah Baumbach, Marriage Story. Lulu Wang, The Farewell.
Ooh, yep.
Bong Joon-ho and Han Jin-won for Parasite. And Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. All right, do you want me to say who I would have win first?
Yes. Who would you have win?
Okay. Uncut Gems.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think that film fails if the writing style just isn't as in your face and harsh and just never ending. Just hearing them talk about how they wrote like almost books of background dialogue for all their extras to talk. They wrote pages and pages of dialogue for people to come in and talk on the phone that the audience doesn't even hear, but so that it keeps the actors engaged on the phone. They came up with all these backstories for all these characters walking on the street just so you can have background noise to have all this stuff. Like, the script is way more than what Adam Sandler or Julia Fox or Kevin Garnett says. But even then, what they say is that constant tension. It's go, 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 constantly. Never lets up until the movie is done. And without that script being as refined as it is, I mean, in itself, it is now a cut gem because it's been refined since like 2008 or 9 when they first did the first draft.
Wow.
So that'd be my choice.
I'm honestly surprised, and I'm sad to say, but that was my runner-up. I have to go with Noah Baumbach for Marriage Story. I mean, obviously, everything that Nate just said about Uncut Gems was phenomenal. But I think if we're looking at the best writing, we're looking at a movie that is that's actually showing you how a divorce works. And
it doesn't do that in Uncut Gems.
Doesn't do that. No, kind of, but it's not the main focus.
Not the main focus.
With Marriage Story, I feel like that the way that Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson delivered their lines was, I mean, breathtaking and super emotional. I cried when Scarlett Johansson was talking to Laura Dern. But that was like an 8-minute uncut scene
of arguing.
No, an 8-minute uncut scene of Scarlett Johansson talking to Laura Dern the first time, and I mean, obviously that monologue was. I had my mouth open. I was like, oh my gosh, this is one of the best writing I have heard all year because she's talking about how her and Charlie met. And, how she was dating someone at the time, but as soon as she met Charlie, it was all over with. She loved him, but he wanted to do different things. She wanted to do different things. And I mean, obviously, the argument scene. And also, if we're looking at a screenplay, we're also looking at how a story is structured. So, what I love about Marriage Story is how... First, the very first 10 minutes, it's structured on them telling a therapist, a marriage counselor, what they like about each other. And then it is on Scarlett Johansson's side. Then it's on Adam Driver's side. And when a story, and mostly a screenplay, can get you interested in both of the person's story, I feel like that's the best original screenplay.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it too. Obviously, is why it's nominated.
Yes.
You can't go wrong with any of our picks. I think they're all excellent, and I wouldn't have been upset if any of them ended up winning. Like, if all of them somehow were nominated, if any of them won, I wouldn't be upset at all. All right, adapted screenplay.
I'm just gonna. I'll I'll say mine. Did I go first or did you go first last time?
You went first last time.
Oh, okay. Never. You go. Sorry, my apologies.
You're good. For adapted screenplay, I got Christian Petzold and Anna Seegers for Transit. I have Lorraine Scafaria. I don't know if that's how you say it.
You're good.
Lorraine Scafaria and Jessica Pressler for Hustlers.
Yep.
Steve Zalian for The Irishman.
Yep.
Noah Harster and Micah Fizerman Blue for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Wow.
And Greta Gerwig for Little Women.
Wow. I will let you know that this Best Adapted Screenplay was the hardest category for me to write or to choose because I could not figure out a single other adapted screenplay except for these first three. So I have Steven Zalian for The Irishman. Mm-hmm. I have Taika Waititi for Jojo Rabbit. I have Greta Gerwig for Little Women. Mike Flanagan for Dr. Sleep. And Lee Hall for Rocket Man.
Yeah. You didn't finish Transit.
I didn't. You're still on that?
Yeah, I'm going to be on that for a long time.
Oh, man.
No, I will say this. Transit is not what I had winning, but the feat and stroke of brilliance to take that story and literally just set it. It's a novel written in the 40s. To take a story and just to set it now with no set dressing or anything, with all of our modern, like everything going on in the world, all that context is there, but it's never spoken about. It's just adapting this story. But you can bring that context in if you want, and it adds so much to the film. And it's my runner-up, but my number one is Little Women.
Little Women?
Okay. Little Women, Greta Gerwig is a masterclass filmmaker, writer, actress, everything.
Yep.
She takes this novel, which I unfortunately never had to read in school, but I actually want to go back and read it. Did you know that the audiobook is narrated by Laura Dern?
Are you serious?
Yeah. So.
Oh, so it's gonna be your favorite audiobook of all time.
Yeah. But yeah, so the dialogue in that film is, I could just listen to it. Like if you turn the movie off and you said, "Hey, just listen to this." Now I'm someone that is really a stickler for combining visuals with dialogue. Dialogue by itself is never, can never be truly better than a film. Yeah. And I obviously turning the film off wouldn't make it better, but I can tell you that I wouldn't be bored because the way she edits and structures the story, which is, in the screenplay, it flows like butter, man.
Yeah.
The movie's over, I think it's over 2 hours.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
It feels like an hour 20. It flows so well.
Yeah, it was a great movie. And
what's your choice?
My choice is Greta Gerwig for
Little
Women, but my runner-up is going to be some that I didn't even ever think I would be putting this on here, would be Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
Because
I don't have any problems with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about it.
The thing is, I read the book. I listened to the audiobook. And it was one of the first books that I have ever actually listened to or read in a long time. Because this man bought me the book 3 years ago. Or over 3 years ago. For my birthday. And then I finally read it and listened to it. Yeah. So, but the thing that I loved about it was adapting the screenplay is literally the first hour and 40 minutes. No, I would say the first 2 hours is literally taken from the book. I recognized what was going to happen in the next scene until this one scene happened, and everything else is completely different. And what I loved about that is that it was better than the Stephen King novel. And at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about it, but then I watched it again, absolutely loved it. And I would just say Mike Flanagan really did the novel justice. He made a Stephen King book actually good. Yeah. So there we go.
All right. Next one, director.
Come on.
What's your list?
All right, I have the Safdie brothers for Uncut Gems.
Cool.
I have Celine Sciamma. Yeah, Celine Sciamma.
I feel embarrassed.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't know.
I wish I knew how to read.
Yeah.
For Portrait of Lady on Fire, I have Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. I have Olivia Wilde for Booksmart, and Robert Eggers for The Lighthouse.
There you go.
All right. What is yours?
All right. Mine, Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Ooh.
Greta Gerwig for Little Women.
Mm-hmm.
Josh and Benny Safdie for Uncut Gems. And Trey Edward Schultz for Waves.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
You see,
lots of great films this year, so it was hard to pick five.
It was extremely hard to only do 5. But like I would totally have done Greta Gerwig and Quentin Tarantino and even Trey Edward Schultz came up. But I think the best directed movie, meaning a director telling the actors
I think I know what you're gonna say.
something on what to do and how the story flows along.
Yeah, so it's Todd Phillips, right?
Okay, Walking. I want you to dance with your shirt off while holding a gun.
all right.
All right, cool.
But who did you actually pick?
I'm gonna say the Safdie brothers. When I'm telling you that is the way that they directed that movie and making the anxiety just hit you across the face. The way that they only had 3 spots in the movie, maybe 4, that actually let you.
And what I love about what they do as well is they like let you know, like, all right, breathe here.
Yeah, this is a breather.
The score changes to something that, which we're not talking about score here, but one of One Tricks Never, I think, is who did the score, and man, phenomenal. But like, I love how they have the music cue in, and it's all happy and like almost drug-induced bliss, you know. And it's like, I can breathe for 10 seconds, and then you like wake up, and it's like, all right, back to suffering. Like
exactly. For runner-up, they're tied. I cannot put one ahead of the other. They're absolutely tied for me. Robert Eggers for The Lighthouse and Olivia Wilde for Booksmart.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Booksmart. I love comedies. Comedy is my second favorite genre, and getting to see a movie, from Olivia Wilde, and it's actually a comedy and it's actually funny, and the way that she directed the 2 main actresses, their chemistry was phenomenal. So I loved that. And The Lighthouse.
No bad choices there.
No. What is your runner-up?
My runner-up, Greta Gerwig for Little Women.
Okay.
Would be my runner-up.
Yep.
Because like I said, the structure of that film is, I mean, the back and forth, the way she makes a deliberate choice to modernize the story without actually modernizing it is incredible. She presents it in a way that will make it feel fresh 30, 40, 50 years from now, whereas the other adaptions are, they're fine, but they're period dramas made at the time that they were made. Okay. This film could be made anytime.
Yeah.
That's my runner-up.
Great.
My winner, though, is got to be Bong Joon-ho for Parasite.
Okay.
It has to be.
Nice.
It's my favorite film of the year. I think it's the best film of the year. I think it's one of the best films of the decade, one of the best films of all time. I know that's like a stretch a little bit, but I mean, man, I love Alfred Hitchcock. He's my favorite director, and everything in this film was just Hitchcockian in the best possible way. He takes the audience and he sits us in a chair and he shackles us to the chair and he pulls us back and he's like, all right, you can't move and you're not allowed to have any moment of like knowing, you're not going to know what's going on. You're not going to expect any of this, and you can't do anything about it because you're here and I have complete and total control of you. And it turns out the seat you're strapped on is a roller coaster in a small, tight house. Yeah,
first off, you're going comedy, it's over there. Then it goes up and it's like thriller.
It's nerve-shredding thriller.
Then it just goes down
into horror.
And seeing someone, balance those genres out, very completely different genres.
I've never seen it done.
Into one movie, all of these. Yeah, it was great. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. Here's hoping he actually wins the Academy Award.
I'm so hoping, but they're going to give it to Quentin Tarantino.
All right, let's move to... They're not going to give it to Quentin Tarantino. They're going to give it to Sam Mendes, but we can hope. We can hope.
They are.
I'm fine with Quentin winning. Hey, no problem with that.
Yeah. We'll move to Best Actor.
Yeah, let's move on.
I'm down with that.
Best Actress.
Oh, Actress?
Best Actress.
Best Actress, okay.
Yeah, perfect. I got Florence Pugh, Midsommar.
Ooh, yes.
I got Scarlett Johansson, Marriage Story. I got Cho Yao-jung from Parasite. Ooh. Awkwafina for The Farewell, and Saoirse Ronan for Little Women.
Come on.
Oh, my bad. I'm not going to say what I picked yet. What did you nominate?
I got Saoirse Ronan for Little Women. Yep. I got Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story, Florence Pugh for Midsommar, Lupita Nyong'o for Us, and this one, I feel like they both count as the same role. Beanie Feldstein,
yes,
and Caitlin Dever for Booksmart.
Caitlin Dever. I mean, you're cheating, but
I know
I'll allow it because it's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I can't live in a world where I have to choose which actress did the best.
Welcome to award shows, Tripp. You have to choose.
I loved all of them. I loved both of their performance, and they were funny, and their chemistry together, like I said, was one of the best that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll be honest. I have a certain name circled on my list, but as I'm sitting here, I'm changing my mind. I'm choosing my pick for winner would be Florence Pugh for Midsommar.
Oh, are you serious?
Florence Pugh for Midsommar. I tried to talk myself into Scarlett Johansson because she is phenomenal. Okay. Scarlett Johansson is phenomenal. So is Saoirse Ronan. I mean, so is everybody.
Yeah.
But Florence Pugh for Midsommar, she goes to some dark depths in that film. She is a tour de force. She carries it.
Yep.
She carries the entire film. If you replace her with another actress, doesn't work.
Does not work.
She has the innocence, but also the maturity needed for the role that is like really unique for the story that it's trying to tell. And that film keeps growing on me. I really didn't like it a whole lot when I first saw it, but now I like unabashedly love it. Yeah, she is. She's my pick for Best Actress. She's phenomenal.
And to Nate's surprise, my Best Actress is Florence Pugh as well. Like I said,
we stand Florence Pugh.
When I first saw the movie, just whatever on the ending, whatever in the last 30 minutes, that is a train wreck. But
I actually disagree now, but we can talk about this another time.
Okay.
Another time.
Okay.
We're talking about actresses right now.
Okay. Florence Pugh is the best performance by an actress I have seen all year. Scarlett Johansson was up there, but then I watched Midsommar again. I'm like, oh yeah. Then I watched the director's cut, and they left out a scene in the director's cut
I also disagree with that.
That also
we can talk about another time.
Okay, I got you. I loved it. I think she had the best performance out of anything. I'm surprised her back didn't hurt for carrying that movie.
Carrying the film, really though.
It was so good.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Best actor. What's your list?
Ooh, and this one was a very tough list, but like I said, this is my own personal list. Eddie Murphy for Dolomite is my name.
Good pick. Yeah.
Adam Driver for Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, Christian Bale for Ford v Ferrari, and Adam Sandler for Uncut Gems.
I got some opinions on.
Okay, I understand. I got you.
First off, my number one, or not my number one, but the first nominee would be Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. Yep. As much as I kind of make fun of that film, to say that Joaquin Phoenix wasn't absolutely incredible in it would be wrong.
Yeah.
It would be wrong. He's absolutely incredible. He's going to win the Oscar.
He's
I personally would not choose him. However, I have zero problems with Joaquin Phoenix, one of the best actors of all time, winning his Oscar finally. Yeah. So, Joaquin Phoenix went on my first nominee. Second nominee, Adam Driver for Marriage Story. His best performance. Killed it. Adam Sandler, Uncut Gems. Finally returned to drama after not doing really a for real one since Punch Drunk Love,
which is 9 years ago.
One of my favorite performances of all time.
Yep.
Brad Pitt, Ad Astra.
Okay.
My personal favorite Brad Pitt performance, and Franz Rogowski for Transit.
Oh wow! All right. Well, my runner-up.
Let's talk about this real quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Christian Bale's on your list.
Listen, when I had no intentions of liking or even caring about Ford v Ferrari.
I mean, it's fine. It's a good film, but
it is a good film. Yeah. But Christian Bale's performance is just like Florence Pugh's performance. He carries that movie. In my own opinion. Now, Matt Damon was really, really good. But, I mean, Christian Bale, one of my favorite actors, actually delivers in another performance that I was like, oh, okay. I'm interested. It's sucking me in. And, getting to see how he interacts with his family, I loved it. I thought it was a great performance.
He was good. He plays himself. That's fine.
Ooh, I disagree. I feel like that the way that he worked with the script was phenomenal. I love the.
I mean, have you ever heard him talk in interviews and?
Yes, I know that's his actual accent.
Not just the accent, but like.
Okay, whatever. I mean, I still stick with Christian Bale. I still stick with Batman.
Okay, that's my one gripe. Otherwise, I have no problems with your list. My pick to win would be Adam Sandler for Uncut Gems. Adam Sandler, one of the most underutilized actors because he seems content with making movies with his friends, making some trash.
Some major
90% of his films are garbage.
100%.
That you are borderline unwatchable. But every now and then, he's like, hey, y'all want to see me be a good actor? And, like, he turns in an incredible performance. Punch Drunk Love was the first one. It's my favorite performance.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
PTA, yeah. My favorite performance from him. He's good in... He's honestly, like, really good in Click. Underrated.
Yes.
He's good in Funny People. The Merowitz stories, which I've seen clips of. I need to watch the whole film. And then, of course, Uncut Gems. Like, every 5 years or so, he's like, hey, by the way, I'm actually talented.
I can actually do an Oscar-worthy performance. What was your second runner-up?
Yeah, after Uncut Gems, which, sorry, I didn't finish vamping about it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't finish vamping.
Sorry.
Last thing I'll say, he carries the film. It doesn't work without... The film... Even with the amazing writing, which I think is incredible, which is why I picked it to win original screenplay, you have to have a guy who has a natural likability and charisma, like Sandler, but who also can come off as this slimy, gross douchebag that you don't ever want to be around. He can have both of those simultaneously, which is why he's the only person who could play the role of Howard because you were rooting for him. And you want him to win, but at the same time, you're like, you're a terrible person, and I can't stand watching you, which is why I'm totally supportive of what you're doing. So it's like it's an enigma. He's a walking enigma.
This is how I win.
This is how I win. My runner-up, as you asked, would be Adam Driver because he made me cry.
He made you cry. Honestly, we're exactly the same. Adam Sandler, the best performance I've seen by an actor all year. The way that they make the dialogue in the movie seem like it was improv. It didn't seem like
a lot of that has to do with the performance.
Yes, it was 100%, and it was phenomenal. I loved his iPhone 5S.
Well, it was in 2012, so
yes, and It completely shocked me. I could not stop thinking about the movie for like a week until I saw it again. And I'm like, yep, I love that movie. Mm-hmm. And then Adam Driver, like like you said, because he made me cry. When he punches that wall, it just made me feel that emotion.
It's a meme now, and it's a really funny meme, and I really like that meme. But surprisingly, the meme actually doesn't take away from that scene at all. Because if you watch it in the context of the film, it's just like, it's just tough, man. All right, so I'm gonna. You want to do yours first? Best picture?
I'll do mine. Now, when I say that these are the best pictures, I didn't know Nate was going to do 10.
Well, because that's the most you could do. I think you should always do the most.
All right. So for best pictures, I have in no particular order: Parasite, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, The Lighthouse, Booksmart, and Uncut Gems.
All right. So for mine, I did 10.
Yep.
I have Marriage Story, The Farewell,
perfect,
Uncut Gems,
cool,
The Irishman, The Last Black Man in San Francisco,
good,
Transit, Waves, Little Women, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite.
Ooh, okay.
And again, I haven't been able to see Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Okay, let's talk about that. Why I didn't put Booksmart. Now, Booksmart, if you know, is actually my 4th favorite film of the year.
Yeah.
I don't, however, think that it is best picture material. Now, I know I'm getting into kind of the minutia of what is best picture and is it just a self-important movie? No, I think Olivia Wilde, in terms of directing, the skill she showed could have warranted a best director nomination. I personally don't think so, even though I would have zero problems with that happening. I just think the film, while I love it and I think it's incredible, doesn't have the cultural importance as a lot of these films do. Now, it is well crafted, and I love it. Like I said, it's my 4th favorite film. However, if you like a film that I like slightly less than it, a film that I like less than it, Marriage Story, if I'm being completely objective here, Marriage Story is better than Booksmart. However, I personally enjoy Booksmart more because it's a funny movie and a good film. Now, this is not saying that you're wrong for putting Booksmart on there, because if the Academy were to nominate Booksmart, you wouldn't see me complaining. No. But that's just why it's not on my list, even though I love the film.
Okay. So. I feel like the themes and the thematic elements that
it's an elevated teen. It's an elevated teen film. Now that's why I like it so much, is because there's so much craftsmanship on display, and it is really like, it's a step above just being a raunchy comedy that you can turn on and have a good time with. Like, there's a lot to chew on, and a lot of commentary, great performances, great editing, great soundtrack, great cinematography. Like, I know I'm kind of seem like I'm selling on Best Picture, but it just doesn't. It's not the best film of the year. Okay. And I haven't picked my piece yet, but if I were saying, The Irishman isn't as good as Booksmart, I enjoy Booksmart more, but The Irishman is a better film, and it is more not just important, but the craftsmanship and the power it has, I think.
I respect that.
Yeah. I respect your choice for putting it on there, though. I don't have a problem with that.
I just wish it was nominated for Best Picture, actually, so Will Ferrell and Adam McKay can win an Oscar.
It'll happen. Will Ferrell will be 80 and turn in a really dramatic role, and then it is going to happen. I honestly almost have no doubts.
Honestly, for Best Picture, I was going to put Uncut Gems, and then I watched this movie. Not that many people know about it. We haven't really talked about that much, but it's called Parasite, and that's my. If we're talking about Best Picture, that's the movie.
Yeah.
Like we talked about.
It checks every box. Now, I'm going to go spoiler. It's mine too. So you go first, and then I'll come in after you.
The way that it balances genres. Yeah. The way it's directed. The soundtrack giving you a nice, funny, ha 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 tone in the first hour, and then it just completely turns on Shutter Island.
Way better than that movie, though. The directing is amazing. Yeah. The writing is amazing. The acting
is out of this world, and it's funny.
It's
It's
go ahead.
funny.
I'll say my piece once you're done.
Yeah, and honestly, getting to watch a movie where when it's finished, I'm just in my seat, just.
As I said, man, you change into your seat.
Breathless.
You're stuck there.
I'm breathtaking. Breathless by it. Yes, because I mean, the way that it ended, it was such a emotional and relief-inducing ending. And I feel like that if you can turn that movie on anytime, and whoever's around you will immediately be into it. Now, if you turn on The Irishman, this is my own opinion. If you turn on The Irishman, people will be into it, but then someone will be like, "Never mind, I'll be right back." Not with Parasite. With Parasite, they will ask you, "Hey, can you pause the movie? I want to go use the bathroom," or they'll just hold it because they are interested in what is going on next.
And I feel that completely. Since you've already talked about all the good things that are about it, I'm going to rant about the Academy real quick.
Please do.
What the Academy does is they post their anonymous ballots. Mm-hmm. A lot of them, not all of them, which they should put all of them, but there's select ones. And one came out about an Academy voter who didn't vote for it because she's like, I don't know if it was a she, just this person in it basically said they don't want to see a non-American win director, and they don't want to see a non-American film win Best Picture, so they didn't even put it on their ballot. And other people are saying they don't want to be bothered with subtitles. They don't like reading subtitles, so they're just not going to. So they're not even watching the film and putting it either last or not, just not even putting it on their ballot. Now, this says as to why the Academy needs to change. It's currently 85% white, and most of them are old.
Exactly.
And so the diversity is up 10% from like 5 years ago, but that needs to change.
100% needs to change.
And this film, it won't win Best Picture.
It sadly won't.
1917 is going to win it.
It is.
Which is a fine film.
It was
a film that I would be actually okay with winning Oscars, and a lot of these other, like 5-6 years ago when the film was winning, not even, well, some of those films were like really good. Well, let's say like Crash or Green Book. If you were to tell me 1917 will like win over those, of course.
I would be totally okay with that.
Parasite is a cultural touchstone. It represents a turning point in both independent and international filmmaking. It is a wake-up call to the Western culture that a film outside of our comfort zone can be truly incredible. And it's made me personally seek out more international films. I wouldn't have watched Transit had I not had such an amazing experience with Parasite. Now, I already did watch some foreign films, but not as many as I should have, and I already have a lot on my list that I need to catch up on. And like Transit ended up being one of my favorite films, and I watched it because I was like, well, I loved Parasite so much. I'm gonna watch this because people are also saying it's really good, and it was, and I loved it. And it's introduced, like, it is a gateway drug, if you will, to a whole world. Not to kind of echo what Bong Joon-ho said. If you get past the 1 inch barrier of subtitles, your eyes are open. Not even paraphrase to quote. Your eyes are open to a whole new world of films, and he is so true in saying that. And I think it's the best film of the year. It has important themes. It's engaging. It's funny. It's scary. It's thrilling. It has incredible performances. It's a technical achievement in set design, production design.
Oh, yeah.
The writing it flows like a raging river over the Niagara Falls and then into a quiet and tiny creek that is smooth and calming and relaxing. And I don't know if there's anything else I can say. I absolutely love this movie, and when it doesn't win Best Picture, I'm going to be upset. But for me, Bong Joon-ho, you hear me? I'm giving you our Trip to the Movies Best Picture. Both of us. We're both giving you.
We're giving you.
It means as much as the Academy Awards, if we're being honest.
Yeah, no, honestly.
I mean, that's not true, but also. So, yeah, Tripp.
My runner-up for Best Picture would have been Cats. It was extremely emotionally terrifying, and all of the...
Best horror film of the decade?
It's the best horror film of the decade.
The best horror film is looking at the budget compared to how much it made. That's the best horror film of the decade.
Exactly.
That and Doolittle's budget and how much it made.
I would say that it's the best horror film next to Slender Man of the decade.
Oh, yeah.
And The Bye-Bye Man.
Yeah, but not to get off on a tangent. It's been a great year for film.
Phenomenal.
So many people, so many people are worthy of awards. So many people aren't even nominated. So many people aren't even nominated in our personal Oscars that are totally deserving. It's the favorite year of movie watching that I've ever had.
Yeah.
Now, part of that is because I'm living on my own now, which is new, so I can have more freedom to do that. But it's just, this was a really good year for cinema.
It was.
And it's just, hopefully that continues into this year. And so what we got coming up, Tripp? Next
Honestly,
podcast. What's the next episode?
On the
little teaser.
The next podcast will be the final podcast that we'll be talking about 2019 movies.
Yes, we're finally going to move past that after the Oscars. We're really sorry about... We've talked about this.
We've talked
about 2019 movies so much, and we need to move past that.
Yes.
But we can't until the Oscars are done.
Yep.
So
the next podcast is, or it's going to be a podcast, but it's also going to be something special.
Yeah.
We are going
to be a little different.
We're going to be recording our reactions.
Yeah.
To the Oscars.
And if we feel like that doesn't completely capture how we felt about the show,
we're going to talk about it.
We may record something else, but look for a more a different style of video coming up.
Definitely.
But yeah.
So yeah, there's your little teaser.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to a Trip to the Movies podcast.
Yes, sir.
Definitely, tune in next week for the very special episode.
I promise you, this is the last time we're going to complain about anything related to the Academy.
Yes. Until next year.
Until the nominations come out in January. I guess you're right. Next year, January. So until they inevitably don't nominate Dune or Tenet for Best Picture. Sorry.
Or Sonic the Hedgehog.
I think it's time to end.
So, thank you guys so much for watching. I would like to thank my co-host, Nathan.
Always.
And, my name's Tripp. And I hope you guys have a great day.
All right.
See ya.